You ready? The press in the Down Beach Current were notified of this meeting. A copy of the same was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building and on the municipal website. Meeting come to order. Would you please stand for the flag salute? Attention, salute. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which stands one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Tom, would you call the roll?
Mr. Becker.
Here.
Mr. Blumberg. Ms. Talby.
Here.
We have before us the minutes of our September 4th meetings. What is your pleasure?
I make a motion we approve those minutes.
Second.
Mr. Becker.
Yes.
Blumberg.
Yes.
Ms. Talby.
Yes.
We will now open to public comment. You have 3 minutes. You may address the commission on any subject. Yes, sir.
Sewell, 22 West Drive. It's a shame, Mayor, that you were disengaged, but perhaps engaged in last night's Board of Education workshop. I can only tell you, Mayor, that gambit of appointing DeNicola superintendent with a sweetheart contract that runs up to 5 years, hamstringing consolidation efforts. I don't know what the gambit is, Mayor, but trust me, if it has the Machiavellian aspects that I suspect, I will take this matter as far and long as it needs to go. I'll start by asking our esteemed solicitor for a professional legal opinion on the serious conflict of interest. I will also ask the Board of Education solicitor for a serious conflict of interest issue. I will further go to the county superintendent, and ask his solicitor for a serious conflict of interest opinion. And if that doesn't work, Mayor, I will go up to Trenton and speak with the educational commissioner and make sure this matter is addressed in the manner which it's due. This is disgusting. I asked both commissioners to listen to that tape last night. Each and every community resident was dead set against a superintendent appointment. Everybody wanted a principal/administrator. It would be a great cost saving. But no, that board, your hand-picked people, perhaps had a different agenda, radically different from the residents of Margate. And I strongly suspect, that there were ulterior motives afoot. And trust me, Mayor, I won't rest until I get to the bottom of it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Anyone else?
Steve Altman, 9003 Amherst Avenue, Margate. I want to inform the community of a project that our library has undertaken, which has directly aided my mother. As you know, she's 95 years of age. She had serious cataract issues, which operations have helped with. But our library is now providing Kindles and Fires books, electronic books, to full-time residents of Margate. Their concern is not to give out one of these devices to somebody who might go off to Florida and forget to return it until the following spring. So they're judiciously loaning these Kindles to citizens who are full-time around the calendar. They gave my mother one about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little bit more. She has read she's into reading autobiographies. So she's read 3 autobiographies in that time on this device. It's an absolute wonderful thing that Mr. Cahill has brought to our community, and I just wanted to mention that to anyone who has a loved one who has some sort of a vision problem. These devices are easy enough for my mother to grasp with less than a half an hour's instruction, and she's been able to carry that with her everywhere. It's just amazing. So our library is to be commended, and I think Mr. Cahill in particular. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve.
Good evening, everyone. I appreciate being able to speak here. My name is Janet Benz, and I live on the 9400 block of Monmouth Avenue. I'm here to bring attention to an issue of concern on our street. We have the need of a street lamp on the Monmouth Avenue driveway entrance to our complex of homes. It's totally dark in the evenings and attracts young people to congregate in our back driveway. We have 2 sets of 7 units back to back that make up our complex. There's a driveway in between the 2 sets of units, and with it being so dark, nobody can see back there. We've also had incidents of public urination, not only in the driveway, but also on the lawns of the end unit owners, creating an unsanitary condition where children are playing. Our complex mailbox is also in that driveway, and when dark, we need flashlights to get our mail. It's just a dark spot that needs to be lightened. I'm requesting that the city consider passing a resolution to install a street lamp on an existing electrical pole, and the number is A16505, next to the driveway, to alleviate this problem and make it safer and take away the gathering place for people. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We'll look into that.
Can we get a copy of whatever she has?
Yeah, can we get a copy of that, and your address again, please?
Sure, I have a little map too. No, they're townhouses.
Okay.
There's 7 townhouses, so it's between Adams and Jefferson, and there's 7 townhouses in the front. They're the ugly kind of things with little porches on the front. And there's the driveway that empties out into Monmouth, and then it turns in the back and then empties out into Jefferson. There's an existing electrical pole on one end there.
And how old are they? How old are these units?
We've been there for 30,
No, the building. How old's the
35
building?
years.
The building must be old.
Well, there's 7 units in the front and 7 in the back.
Been there for about 35 years.
Yeah, there's 35
Okay.
years I've owned it, so I'm an original owner there.
Oh, I know where you are. I know where it
Okay.
is.
All right.
I can pick it
You're
up.
asking for a light on that pole number,
Okay.
A16.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, we'll look into that.
Do
Okay.
you want my address, my original address?
Yes.
It's 9410A Monmouth Avenue.
Mayor, I just have one question publicly, so that if whatever happens with this, is this on a private road or a public road?
No, it's on Monmouth Avenue.
Monmouth is where you asked for it. I didn't know whether it was on the driveway.
Oh, no, the existing pole's on Monmouth Avenue. There's a transformer up there at the top.
Why don't you leave us your telephone number? Would you do that, please?
Yes. My home phone number is 822-6406, and my cell number is 856-912-1419. Thank you.
And just to let you know, this came up a few months ago, not this one, but someone requested one, and Rich, there was some emails going back and forth about looking at it, and we found out another location, but I did, just so you know, electric company does require a governing body resolution, because years back, they used to get requests from individual elected officials, and it became a problem, so they do require a governing body resolution.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Does anyone else care to address the board?
My name's Bob Phillipsack. I'm not a resident of Margate. I live at 2001 Shore Road, Linwood. The reason I've come here is to speak on behalf of your beautiful beaches and in opposition to the ridiculous dune plan that's being forced upon you. I've been a resident of New Jersey for almost all my life. I've been coming to the Jersey Shore since the early 50s. I've seen what happens to dunes, so I'd like to give you just a little bit of a history. Before the 62 storm hit on the north end of Brigantine, there was a 40-foot dune at the far north end. It was close to half a mile across the Wreck Inlet. When the 62 storm came, it leveled the dune. You could now throw a softball across the inlet. It totally wiped it out. Now, this was a dune that had cherry trees in it, cedar trees, sumac. It was a very well-formed and completely natural dune. But Mother Nature's going to come and take exactly what she wants. The dunes that are being proposed, 20 feet and more, do not exist anywhere south of Barnegat Light. That the governor decides he's going to put these huge things in the way are going to do nothing to stop the storm. The water's going to rise, it's going to hit the soft hit the soft sand, begin churning it up, making a cliffside and pushing it into the ocean. Part of the reason I'm here, I guess, is because I did graduate Rutgers by a side degree, graduated from Drexel in chemistry. I've worked at the FA Tech Center for close to 30 years. I'm now retired. So I have a little bit of background on what's going on, and the plan that they're doing, where they're cutting away the hard sand where the clam beds are, piling it up onto the beach. You've now weakened the beach. You're going to have a lot like what Longport did back in 1980 when the Army Corps of Engineers decided they were going to build from Seaview Harbor Marina out to G.E. Bell. They cut a deep trench. Unfortunately, you couldn't get out the inlet very easy when the wind was blowing from the south. The natural cutoff of the rock pile was disrupted. 2 years later, 91 hit, and we had the Great Clam Storm, which was Mother Nature reclaiming her beaches. As the water begins churning, it throws all of the shells up onto the beach. So what did they do? These shells would interlock. They would form a natural dune. However, because it was stinking, because there were flies, they had them push the front-end loader, get front-end loaders and push all of the clams from the clam storm into the water. You're going to be facing a lot of that same sort of thing. These dunes that are supposed to be protection are doing no such thing. Our most valuable asset in New Jersey is the beautiful beaches and the ocean. If you go from Atlantic City between the Trop and Convention Hall, you'll see the kind of dunes they've got planned. You cannot see the ocean from the boardwalk. You cannot see the moon rise out of the ocean. Nobody's there looking. There are no bikinis. There are very few people swimming there. As soon as you go down where it wasn't disrupted with the beach, that's where in between the old $1 Million Pier and Steel Pier, there's beautiful beaches. They're packed with people. I was just back from a sailing trip going from Barnegat up to Sandy Hook and back, and as we came close to the shore, as you look on Long Beach Island, everywhere there have been dunes built. They're 20 feet tall, they got big bridges going over it. There's almost nobody on the beach. Wherever they couldn't get the easement and the dunes are not there, the beaches were packed as usual. Who wants to hike up and over a mountain to get to a steep beach where there's no surf? So I'm imploring you to try to fight the dunes. However, I was reading some things in the paper where, it's going to cost you $200,000 or more to hire a lawyer. There's a much easier way around that whole thing. Fortunately, in this country, beside freedom of speech and religion, you have the freedom to petition the government. And you can do it by just getting people together and putting together a petition. And the best thing you can do is dry up the water for the Army Corps of Engineers, because they've been the gang that can't shoot straight for 20 and 30 years. Put a petition together to President Obama and say, cut off all funding for any dunes that are taller than 8 feet. I don't speak against dunes. Dunes are important. Dunes are beautiful, and they're a wonderful thing. These 22-foot dunes that are being constructed exist absolutely nowhere in nature. They're a figment of our governor's imagination. They're destroying the value of the beautiful beaches, and instead they're erecting this giant rump of sand that cuts you off from the ocean. So I at least wanted to bring a copy of the White House website, how you go about forming a petition. All you do is say, President Obama, please cut off funding for the Army Corps of Engineers for anything that's bigger than 8 or 10 feet tall. But that would be the way to go. Don't fight it with a lawyer. Don't spend $200,000. Do not. But just by having people together and approaching this and petitioning the U.S. government to cut off funding, I think you've got a good chance of stopping what I think is going to be an absolute travesty. Like I said, I love your beaches. I was surfing on them in the late 60s and early 70s. They're gorgeous. There was some damage done, but nothing to the extent that the Governor Christie's damage is going to do by piling up all of the sand on the beaches and obscuring the beautiful view you have.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Is there any other public comment? Is there a motion to close public comment?
I'll make a motion that we close public comment.
Second.
Mr. Becker? Yes.
Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
We will now accept public comment on resolutions only.
Bill Potts, 26 North Frontenac Avenue. I just wondered, what is the value of the grant in Resolution 192?
Do we have that? Do you have that, Reggie?
15,000.
15? Thank you.
Sewell, 22 West Drive, resolution number 192, streetscape revitalization. Does that include the business district, which has had plans for years and years and have never been followed through on, so far as the red brick pavers and all? Mr. Joseph Tozzi assured me that now he has more free time, that he intends to push this issue, but I'd like to start pushing it right here and now to make the business district look more aesthetically appealing. Number 197, I strongly urge this commission to give Chuck Peruto every consideration. I only regret that the late, great Charles Peruto Sr. is still not with us, because I assure you, you would see fabulous litigation. Fabulous. In fact, Chuck's word after his dad pulled his chestnuts out of the fire on that ticket fixing deal was, only God saves more than Charles Peruto Sr. Thank you.
Anyone else? Motion to close public comment on resolutions.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
Mr. Hiltner?
We have the second reading of ordinance 1431, amending for handicap parking on 16 West Drive.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
Resolution 189 authorizes claims and payroll.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
190 authorizes payment to Colmar for 80530.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
191 authorizes petty cash fund for the fire department.
Make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
I'm sorry, Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
192 authorizes the execution of the sub-recipient agreement for the NJ Economic Development Authority.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
193 authorizes the purchase through state contract of a 2015 Ford Explorer vehicle.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
And 194 authorizes the settlement agreement resolving unused sick and vacation compensation time for Richard
I'll
Kugel.
make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
195 authorizes an amendment to the Margate City Employee Association agreement.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
196 authorizes executive session and CABO for City of Margate. Let me just have all three. Can we read all three at once? Yeah.
Please.
There are three different resolutions, but we're going to go in the executive session one time, correct? So we have 196, 97, 98 regarding the various three listed litigation cases.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Blumberg?
Yes.
Mr. Talby?
Yes.
Yes. We'll now go into executive session. Thank you all for being here. When the executive session is over, we will reopen the meeting.
So, and also you get to hear 193, this, and 194.
In and out. Problem. Are we now back, we're out of executive session? And
Well, let's, we have to, shall we?
Nobody's here. Just Fred.
Oh, I just texted Fred to tell him we're done.
It is 6:07. Is there a motion to reconvene the previous meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Abbott, please.
Mayor and city officials, what we have done is we've come out of executive session on 3 separate items, those being the case of Cabo versus the City of Margate and others, Peruto versus the City of Margate and others, and Gross versus the City of Margate and others. And we've discussed strategy on all 3 of those lawsuits, and we have discussed possible parameters of settlement on one of them. And at that is all I'm at liberty to say at this point in time, and I will report back to you on the status of these lawsuits at my next meeting.
Thank you, Mr. Abbott. Is there a motion to adjourn this meeting?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Blumberg?
Yes.
Ms. Talby?
Yes.
Thank you all. This meeting is adjourned.